Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for this segment, we have Kelly Mathieson, Chief Client Experience Officer, Digital Asset Developer, Blockchain CBDC Initiatives, to discuss challenges and solutions for the growth and adoption of central bank digital currency known as CBDC for cross-border payments. Kelly, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks. Give us a little bit of background on yourself and Digital Asset.
Sure. Thank you so much, Jill, for having me here today. Look forward to the discussion. Digital Asset is a software and service providing organization. We're focused on creating global connections across complex multi-party workflows and bringing a landscape together of interconnected business solutions for clients and industries. I'm the Chief Client Experience Officer, so I get the great pleasure of working with clients as they create and adopt and deploy solutions globally.
Give us some background on the CBDC from the philosophical to practical global adoption joint report.
Yeah, thank you. So a year ago, we had put together our first paper in this space that was focused on some of the technology principles that at the time we were discussing with clients and with governments around the globe that would be important in terms of supporting the structure and the creation of central bank digital currencies and digital currencies more broadly. In a year's time, we've had the privilege, frankly, of working on a number of CBDC and digital currency initiatives around the globe. We've also had the opportunity to get closely connected with Giovanni Bondi, who is at the Cambridge Alternative Finance organization, and really to begin to understand how regulatory environments are changing to bring in and adopt CBDC and digital currency. And so in this paper, we wanted to reflect on some of the learnings, the challenges, the issues, and what's worked well across those key initiatives.
What are the potential behind CBDCs?
Yeah, it's a great question because I think that the reach of CBDC and of digital currencies more broadly is vast. It's going to impact, I think, in any number of positive ways, global, domestic economies around the world. But one of the things that we've seen that's really changed in the last year or sort of come into the forefront of thinking is how CBDC and digital currencies will affect cross-border payments, particularly cross-border functionality that is focused on, say, the underbanked or the unbanked as a way to reach those who might be outside of traditional financial services sectors, and how the digitization of those currencies, fiat or otherwise, can improve the financial services to those types of communities.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because for those of us who have lived in the traditional banking mindset, we don't often think about, billions of people who this is how they can actually transact money for the first time. And I think, we lose sight of that because it's just always available for us. What are some of the challenges for CBDC implementation?
Yeah, whether you're trying to reach those that for whom financial services are hard to gain access to, or whether it is, frankly, folks like you and me, I think some of the principles that have emerged really over the last year as people move from the philosophical to the practical are those that you might expect, but bear incredible importance when you're talking about a financial instrument that can affect privacy, the ability to have secure networks, to make sure that a currency, as you and I are exchanging, doesn't allow us to know more or less about a transaction that we should. The ability to scale. We're talking about one of the largest, if not the largest type of financial instrument in any particular country, and certainly for cross-border. So the ability to handle that at volume and with performance. Maybe also to extensibility, or the ability to have a foundation for technology now for the use cases that we have not yet contemplated, that we do not yet know, and making sure that the foundation is not one that's just simply strong from a technological perspective, but bears a close marriage between the technology, the policy sector, and the regulatory sector. And that's where we had the benefit of Dr. Bondi being involved with us.
And speaking of the regulatory sector, what are your thoughts on the recent congressional hearing on the future of digital currency?
Yeah, interesting question. So I had the great pleasure of listening in to Vice Chair Lael Brainard speak. Yeah, there were many points. It was quite a lengthy conversation, but I think a couple of key points came out that were interesting. The first was the focus on making sure that that any form of digital currency, whether it's in the stable coin sector or whether it's a digital fiat currency, is done in a way or structured technologically in a way that preserves the role of the payments providers and of the commercial banking sector. Indeed, in our first paper and then again in our second paper, we resonated on the point that maintaining the two-tiered system where the central bank has the responsibility to act as the issuer, but it's the commercial bank and the payment providers that are bringing out the services. I think one of the congressional representatives pointed out that it wasn't the central bank that wanted to get into performing KYC and AML on individual citizens, that could really begin to degrade its benefit and its reputational value. So we want to preserve the two-tier banking system. And we heard that resonate in the conversation. I think the second thing, just to mention it quickly, was being careful not to inadvertently create a shadow banking system with stable coins that are outside the regulated or governmental sector, outside the intended creation of managing a currency for a local economy. Those are two key themes that I think really came across all of the representatives, as well as Vice Chair Brainard.
All right, Kelly, we appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.
Thank you so much.